Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Chief here, professional problem solver. Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of the Top Producers Only. We show up every Monday here at 6 p.m. with a special guest to discuss the car business. This is a show exclusively for this group and specifically for our favorite car industry. So tonight we have a great guest, a dealer principal and owner of Capital Chevrolet in Texas. His name is Alex Flores, and he is. I just learned a new term that I want to share with you guys. The difference between a travel agent and a tourist guide is the travel agent will send you to locations you've never been to, and probably the travel agent themselves haven't been to. But the tourist guide will be able to speak from experience because they've been in the locations they will be welcoming you to. So, our guest tonight is definitely a tourist guide, very experienced, hands on general manager, dealer owner of a Chevrolet dealership, and he is going to talk about culture of accountability. Besides that, we're going to also discuss in the second part of the show the future of the car business. I want to share with you what my take is and what I believe the car business is going to transform into. And obviously, we're going to ask our guest what his opinion is as well. So, thank you for joining us. Please comment and ask questions in the comments. Uh, Feel free to participate in this show. This show is for you, from us, and we're hoping to have some fun in the next 60 minutes. Again, if you have any questions, definitely comment and ask. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to my guest tonight. His name is Alex Flores, the dealer principal of Capital Chevy. Good evening, Alex.
Good evening, and thank you for having me, Velco. Really excited to be with you guys, or with you and your show. I do want to make just a clarification about something. I am the general manager of Capital Chevrolet. I am the dealer principal and owner of Seguin Chevrolet. And I know it's kind of
Well,
confusing because I do run two stores, and people always get confused with that. So no biggie. I just want to make sure it's clear that I am the general manager of Capital Chevrolet, which is in Austin, Texas, and I'm the dealer principal owner of Seguin Chevrolet in Seguin, Texas, sir. But
that's
thank you for having me. Yes,
and this
sir.
is this is you're running two stores so far, but you're moving so fast. You never know what's going to happen in the next 12 months. So your introduction will be even more complicated.
Yes, it will. Sorry about that.
Well, the reason why I wanted to invite you is because of your energy. Just like I share with you, it's so rare to see a hands-on general manager that wants to know every single detail of every single deal, every single client wants to know that the clients are number one satisfied, that the salespeople are satisfied, that every dealership employee is enforcing the culture, empowering people around them, and believing in the main vision and the main mission. So I'd like you to talk about that because a couple of weeks ago, we started talking about culture. Uh, I know that the night when you were supposed to be here a couple of Mondays ago, you were overwhelmed with a lot of business and couldn't make it. But respectfully, I spoke about culture. For some reason, I knew that maybe that would be a good topic for us. So we can just continue on. To give you some heads up, I covered last week. What my opinion is for the necessary step to build a strong culture. And I broke the word culture on acronym. So for each letter of the word, I created another word. And I'm going to start with the letter C, which is the first letter from the word culture. And I created the word choice. And to me, I believe everyone should join your team based on a choice. You know that cliche question, what would you do if money was not a problem? If you had all the money in the world, what would you spend your 40 hours a week between 9 and 5 with? What would you be doing? So if people are not choosing the position of a salesperson or a sales manager or general manager or finance manager, they may not be, or at least somebody who wants to work in the car industry, they may not be the right fit, right? Because
Right.
so many people join the car industry because of different reasons. But what do you think? Do you agree with that? And do you ask people when you interview them for the job if that's their true choice for what they want to do with their life?
Yes, absolutely. I think it's I totally agree with you, and I think it's we I always tell people, I didn't go knocking on your door and asked you if you wanted to do this. You came and you wanted to do this, and you applied for the job, and not only that, but then you wanted to be promoted. You wanted to keep moving up and expand your wings and take this opportunity. So now that you're in this position, what are you going to do with this position? How are you going to perform? So I 100% agree with you about choice. I think it's definitely and then at the same time, I mean, I believe that we as general managers, as dealer principals, owners, we also have the choice of who we decide to put in that position. And it should never be, because hey, somebody knows somebody, or hey, stuff like that. It needs to be a choice that, hey, I truly believe that this is the right choice for our team, that this is the right choice, this is the right leader that we need for our team to get to next levels.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you on that. The second letter is the letter U, and for you, I created the word unity. And I believe that unity is the best way to celebrate diversity. And one of the best suggestions I give to my dealer partners is to find great members of different communities from their town, and to make sure that obviously they choose that profession. But we could be totally different of the way we look, of where we come from, but to fight for the same mission and to have the same vision and the same desire to serve clients in the same fashion. So that's what I mean by unity, while celebrating diversity. Making sure that we have members of each community in our team, and those people are able to expand our vision in their own communities. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't call. I mean, but I agree with you. I don't call it unity. I call it teamwork. Are
Hmm.
you working as a team? Is everybody working to your point towards the same goal? Is everyone have the same mission in their mind? Is everyone care about making every deal in the same capacity? In other words, is the finance guy, finance manager, worried about getting the deal financed so we can get the deal done? Is the manager fighting for the deal, making sure that he takes the turn and he does everything possible? And is the salesperson doing their job? And if everybody does their job, then I believe you have unity. I believe when people see, this is the car business, right? That we're talking about. So obviously, you have a dealership full of people who have a specific job, and I always find that to have the culture of unity and the culture of teamwork, everybody needs to be doing their job, because there's nothing worse, nothing more frustrating than when a salesperson is doing their job, but then the manager's not doing their job. They come
Yeah,
to the managers and they don't have that unity, meaning that support, that they don't feel like, hey, you are an advocate of me. You're there for me. You're there to support me. You're there to help me. And when there is that, when that actually exists, and people actually know that you're there for them, then you have teamwork, unity, and things go a lot smoother. You make more growth, and you're obviously going to close more deals, in my opinion.
I agree with you. And some dealers would create uh, pay plans that are contradicting with each department.
Yeah,
And
I
sometimes
don't.
the used car manager would want to
Hmm.
put less money in the trade because their pay plan is based on how much profit they make on wholesale and cost of vehicles. And then the new car manager would need more money for the trade because their front end is all shaved, and it's the only place he could find some help to put a deal together. And then the salespeople are frustrated because of those two guys working together at the same
Hmm.
time, and in being in conflict because of their pay plan. What do you think about dealers that are doing that?
Yeah, I don't believe in that. From day one, when I got to Capital Chevrolet in 2016, they actually had a pay plan similar to what you're describing, and then that's, I think, when you divide the teams, then all of a sudden you have used car managers, new car managers. It's too much of a battle. It should be where, in my opinion, where everyone's fighting for the same goal. Everybody's working together. The used car manager should want to make every new car deal. The The used car manager should be just as concerned as the new car manager as far as we got to make this new car,
Hmm.
deal. And we could, why? Because we need more inventory. And if we sell more, we're going to get more. And if we sell this new car, we're probably going to get a nice trade in, and vice versa. The used car manager, excuse me, the new car manager needs to be concerned about not putting too much money in the trade-ins. If they need to make a deal, of course, still make your deal, but don't bury your used car manager on a trade-in, because
Yeah.
that's not going to be beneficial for the entire team. So what I do, me personally, I just pay everybody on the same thing. Everybody gets paid on new cars. Everybody gets paid on new cars. I mean, every single manager. If you're part of the management team, we're all gonna. If we make money in wholesale, we're gonna make money in wholesale. If we lose money in wholesale, we're all gonna lose money in wholesale. And that way, everyone is fighting for the same thing. If we get money from GM because we hit our SFE levels, and we go over our objective, then everyone's going to get paid on SFE, because
Right.
that's the way it should be. Then you have unity, to your point, for the second letter. Then you have true unity within your team.
Yeah. And what about between sales and finance? Because there are also those stores that completely attract all of their buyers with very attractive price, and salespeople are either on flat commission, or the opportunities for front end growth are very limited. And then at the same time, finance department is making all the money, and there's so many stores out there that are looking for product specialists and completely minimize the importance of the salesperson, which is the person that creates the opportunity for the finance office and for service and for everybody else. It's the frontline soldier that makes the land uh,
Hmm.
and expand. Without the salesperson, we don't have land, so we can't really upsell clients and keep them as repeat and get more referrals without that initial salesperson duty. And how do you handle that problem with the commissions between front and back?
We actually pay people in finance. We pay them a commission, to encourage our salespeople, to make sure that they are pushing the product in the back. They're doing a
Hmm.
proper business turn. You have to do that. So our salespeople, once you reach a certain amount of units, which is not a lot right now, especially with COVID, I actually lowered it a little bit to make it easier for salespeople to make money. Once you hit, for instance, 10 units, then you get a percentage of the back end.
Nice.
And it's always been like that. It's always been like that. In that way, like you said, Velco, you have the salesperson, and we train them. We train them to make sure that they do a proper business turn. That they tell their customers, Mr. Customer, here's our finance manager. He's going to go over a lot of things with you. I'm not trying to tell you how to spend your money, but you might want to listen to his advice, because he just wants to make sure that your loan is protected and your vehicle's under warranty, and in case you have any problems, you don't have to worry about that in the future. So we definitely work as a team there, and because of that, I mean, we sell a lot of cars.
Yeah,
We sell 600 to 700 cars out of Capital, and we sell 200 to 300 out of Seguin, and our grosses are extremely good, front and back.
that's nice. That's nice. Well,
Yes, sir.
I can definitely feel the team spirit every time when you're showing videos from the store and just celebrating with clients, and some of your marketing is absolutely genius. I love and I enjoy watching you guys sell vehicles from both of the stores. The next letter is the letter L, and I put the word law because a lot of dealerships deal with rules and policies, but what we know about rules is they're meant to be. Rules are meant to be.
Oh yeah, for sure.
They're
Meant to be
meant to
broken.
be. That's right.
Yes, yes, yes,
And,
yes,
and,
yes.
and as a leader, you probably have been in a situation where sometimes you have to bend the rules for a special achievement, or change the policy, make an exception for somebody who had made an exceptional effort, and a lot of salespeople looking for excuses and looking for reasons to spoil the culture would say that, yeah, the rules apply to some and don't apply to everyone. So that's why I don't like rules and policies, because they could be changed at any point. And I like laws because people respect laws. Uh, we're waiting for Alex to join us. For some reason, we lost the connection with Alex. But if you guys have any questions, any comments, um, Alex is coming back. All
You
right,
know
welcome
what?
back to the stream.
My bad.
No worries, no worries. So I was just finishing up on sharing that I'm a big fan of laws that everyone is subject to follow, from the owner to the porter. And when that is the situation, then porters feel very empowered to be able to call anybody on just not following the law, and that makes them feel significant part of the culture instead of I'm just a porter. If they're able to call out anybody from the team and be like, hey, that's not how we do business here. We always take care of the client and we always do this, and this is a law for our team, and I would have to make a citizen arrest at this point, and that really drives the culture up from what I've seen. What's your opinion on that? Instead of having rules, just having laws that everyone reminds everyone.
I think it's a lot easier, Velcro, to manage a process and try to manage people. So maybe I do things a little different, but the way I do it, man, I just there's processes, there's policies, there's things, there's expectations. There is clear expectations that we put in place, and that's how we're gonna do things, and I'm not gonna bend on them. And are they always followed? No, they're not always followed. But when we notice that they're not followed, or when a manager sees that something's not going the way we want it to be done, it's their responsibility to get involved and say, hey, wait a minute, this is not how we do things. Now, in today's day, is there times where we might make exceptions and be like, you know what, let's just move forward with this deal so that we can make the deal? Yes. But, to me, it's like once you start making little exceptions here and there,
Yeah,
it kind of just snowballs, and next thing you know, nobody's doing it. So
you're
to
right.
me, I'm not a big fan of that. I'm a fan of, hey, there's always a way. There's always a way, and I'll take a turn because I do all the time, and I'll ask the salesperson, hey, did you do this? And they'll tell me, well, no, I didn't do it. And I'm saying, well, why not? He's like, well, they didn't want to do it, or they felt I didn't want to make them feel pressure, or whatever the case it may be. And I'm like, really? I said, well, come on, let me show you, and I'll just take them with me, and I'll do it for them in front of the customer, and prove to them that it can be done. And honestly, all you have to do is you have to do that once or twice, maybe. Most of the time, coming from me, only once. And then they go, okay, you know what? He just showed me that it can be done. So it goes back to leadership. It goes back to, because accountability and culture, it's all about leadership and how you're leading your team. To have the right culture, you have to have the right leadership. And we can talk about culture all day long, but if you don't have the right leadership, culture is going to be nowhere.
That's
So
a good.
you have to set the expectations. You have to have consistency where, hey, and I'm the kind of guy that, and people that work for me know this. You could be the guy selling the most cars. You could be one of my best managers, and I'm always going to be making sure that you're doing your job. And if you're not, I'm going to call you out. I'm not going to be like, oh, well, Velco, you sell a lot of cars, or Velco, you put up really good numbers all the time. You can get away with it. No, because then you create the wrong culture. That is exactly what you don't want to do, in my opinion, because then people say, well, hey, little Johnny doesn't have to do it. Why do I have to do it? And
Yeah.
then the people that are actually trying to follow your process, to follow directions that you're giving them, and policies and procedures, once they see that somebody else is getting away with not doing them, then guess what? All of a sudden, half of your staff is not going on a demo. Half of your staff are not writing customers up all the time. Half your staff is not doing follow up. So you don't, in my opinion, that's not a culture that I want. Not in my stores.
So if you have a top performer who produces two or three times more than the average salesperson, are they privileged at all, or
No, absolutely
no?
not. Not with me. I don't believe in that, man. I mean, now do you get to park by the building? Yes. I mean, we have a salesman of the month parking spot, I think. The privilege that you have is you get the biggest paycheck. To me, that's a big enough privilege. And you're gonna make. We have a very aggressive pay plan. But no, listen, this is the way I look at it. If you have a top salesperson, okay, and they're doing really well, and you let him or her do things the way they want to do things, or I guess their own way, then the message that you're sending out to your team, in my opinion, is that your process doesn't really work. Because here it is somebody not doing the process, not doing it the way things the way you want them, but they're selling a lot of cars.
Hmm.
So what does that say? So to me, I don't believe in that. I believe that everybody needs to follow the process. Period. And I've taken over stores before where I come in and I'm put in a position of leadership and I'm the guy basically setting the rules and stuff. And I always have to fight those salespeople that have been there for so long, doing it a certain way for so long, and they tell me, well, Alex, you coming in here trying to change things, and to be honest with you, I'm doing just fine the way I am right now. And I always tell them, hey, well, if you're happy with your results and you don't want to grow and you don't want to do better, then I'm wasting your time. But if you really want to do better, just give me a chance to show you that my process
Good
works.
deal.
And that's when I do this for them, and they start getting the results. Then all of a sudden they become believers. So I think you have to win their trust in order to do this. You need to show them, by example that you can do it, and then people will want to follow.
I love what you said about if you're trying to teach the rest of the team, but the number one person doesn't apply your rules and processes, then what are you saying about your process? I love
Exactly,
you said that. That's
100%.
so the next letter is the letter T, and I put the word truth next to it. Truth without a twist. And to me, like radical transparency, open communication within the team is huge because negativity spreads so much faster than positivity, right?
Hmm.
And sometimes assumption turns into a problem and turns into a big problem because everybody else now is talking about it. So, truth without a twist from both ends, sales and management, and really every department. What do you think about that for the right person?
Absolutely, I don't. Absolutely, man. I don't believe that. I always tell my team that you don't have to cheat to win. You don't have to cheat to win. And we believe in 100% transparency. We want our customers to know exactly what they're buying. There is no reason to, I guess, quote unquote, get jicky with it. There is no reason to do that. Not anymore. I mean, I don't think there ever was, but especially not in 2020. There's got to be honesty between us, with our customers, within our team as well. I mean, I'm the guy that I'm gonna tell you the truth, whether you like it or not. Of course, I'm gonna try to do it with grace as much as I possibly can. But at the end of the day, man, if you're not doing your job, I'm gonna let you know. If you're not making calls, I'm gonna let you know. If you're not being a manager that you should be, I'm gonna let you know. If you're being lazy, if you're getting complacent. So I do believe that we have to have that open communication and be able to have enough comfort with each other to be able to give people constructive criticism. And honestly, we're in a business, a grind business. I mean, rise and grind, hustlers, car hustlers, all this stuff. I mean, we're not doing charity work here, man. We're trying to make money. We're trying to sell cars. So we should be able to come to somebody and say, hey, man, you're not putting up what you're saying you're putting up, and you're not doing your job, and you're not living to the expectations of our team. Therefore, you need to perform, or we're gonna have to make a change. We're gonna have to do something else, man. So I think you have to be truthful with people, and you have to be able to tell them, hey, you're not as good as you think you are. You're not as good as you say you are.
That's right. The next one is the second U, and I put the word unoffended. I believe that in a team, in a right culture, there's no there's no there's no place for us to be offended. Just like
Mm-mm.
just like in a family, if you have a big family or a small family, if you get into a fight with your brother or sister or mother or father, eventually what you're going to say you're going to regret and you're going to apologize at some point. And what's the point of saying it in the first place or getting offended about it? You know.
Mm.
So either way, if you're in a Super Bowl and you have one quarter left and you're in and the coach knows that you're not living up to your potential, that you're not giving your best, he's not going to be politically correct to wake you up, right? He may say some things that are hurtful for that moment, but in a heated battle, we might say some things that we regret, or we might say some things to trigger some specific emotions that could be not always the most pleasant things to say. But just like you said, the truth is more important in those situations than being you know, politically correct or something like that. And I don't want to obviously go into different topics, but people are so sensitive nowadays,
Mm.
you know, and they get offended so fast, and they don't
Hmm.
understand that we got to be able to say some things in some tough situations that you just can't get offended because of that. Just the next day think about it, and we're gonna be meeting the following day to go into another battle. So if you start keeping track on those things, it will be really difficult to be part of a winning culture. What do you think?
I completely agree, and it's just part of it, man. The people, the true winners, the teams that are actually striving. We're talking about performers, right? We're talking about top performers, dealerships that are doing well, dealerships that are striving, growing. They're looking at 10%, 20% growth. They're breaking records. The teams, everybody in the team wants to win. The right culture, because that's what we're talking about, culture.
Mm-hmm.
So in those type of environments, you're gonna find that. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you. You're gonna find that in those types of environments, most of the team are gonna be okay with constructive criticism. They're gonna be okay with, hey, I always tell people, when vendors come here to talk to me, vendors that I do business with, and they come in, they run a performance report for me, or even if it's General Motors or whoever, I always tell them, hey, don't come in and tell me what I'm doing right. Tell me what I'm doing wrong, because I really don't have time to hear what I'm doing right. I already know what we're doing right. I already know that we're amazing. I already know that we're beating every dealer in our area, and that we're overperforming most people around us. And we're selling two times, three times, four times what they sell. I already know that. What I want to know is what I'm doing wrong. Where's the areas of growth and opportunity that I have? So that's what we all need to do, because nowadays everybody wants a medal. Everybody wants a pat on the back and a attaboy, a good job, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. I believe in recognition. I believe in telling people thank you for what you do. We appreciate you being here. You're a great part of, you do so much for the team. I get
Yeah.
it, but you should be able to have the guts and the courage to talk to your team as a leader, and make sure that you have those tough conversations, because I hear it all the time from dealers. Oh man, this guy's okay, but he's been here so long, and I just feel bad for him, but he's not doing this, he's not doing that, or she's not doing this, she's not doing that. And I'm like, what are you doing, man? That's not how you lead. You have to be able to sit down with this. I mean, I always ask them, well, have you sat down and talked to this person? Well, I just don't want to hurt his feelings, and I don't want him to get all negged out. And I mean, there's never a good time to have these conversations. I mean, you might have to have this conversation on Saturday morning, right before game day. It is what it is. You might have to have it, in the middle of a game day. I don't know. But either way, you have to have these conversations and not be afraid of offending or hurting somebody's feelings. And believe me, I've done it many times. I wish I could tell you I haven't. I've done it because people, and typically I always tell people that get offended, it's usually for a reason. It's because they're probably not doing something that they should be doing. They're probably not following the process. They're probably not being the managers or the salespeople they're supposed to be. So when you call them out and you have these tough conversations, of course they're going to be offended.
Yeah. So the next letter is the letter R, and I left that for the word real. I think that one thing we cannot fake, and there's many things we can't fake. We can't fake our body language, we can't fake our micro impressions, but we also can't fake our energy. And our clients
Mm,
know, and our managers know, and our salespeople know when we carry a negative energy, when our energy is just weak. And that's why I'm a big fan of the word real. If you're gonna be here, I want you to be real with what you're doing. Be present and real. What do you think about that?
absolutely, man. There's when you were saying that, all I can think of is that the specific scenario where you have the team members, managers, whoever, that in front of the boss, they act like, oh yeah, I'm ready to go, boss, let's go, let's rock and roll. Then as soon as the boss walks away, or he's not looking, she's not looking, then they let deals walk. They don't follow up. They don't get up and take a turn, or finance manager doesn't do a finance turn, or they don't submit a deal because they feel like, oh, this is not a deal, or a
Mm.
salesperson is not walks a customer or doesn't follow up with a customer, doesn't send a video, X, Y, whatever, Z. So I do believe in just be real. I call them
Be
pikers,
real.
right? Pikers, will pretend they're doing something. They act like they're moving a lot, but they're really not. They're really not doing what they're supposed to do. They're on their phone. They're looking at Facebook. They're looking at Instagram. They're not paying attention. They're not focused.
Yeah. So you're a big fan of real, huh?
Oh, absolutely. Yes, 100%.
And the last letter is E, and I left it for the word empower. Culture must be empowered, but I also love your culture of accountability. So
Hmm.
instead of empowerment, or it's part of the empowerment on how you're going to create that system for accountability. Tell me what you've done in your store so everyone is accountable, and how do you check that, you know, with efficiency?
Well, there's many ways that I do it. Obviously, I use our CRM as a guide, as a map of giving me an idea of what's happening and what's not happening in my store, or both of the stores that I run, and then also, being involved, hence hands on a daily basis. You can always tell, just being in the sales office, you can always tell, okay. And I'll ask questions. I mean, I'll intercept the salesperson on their way to the desk, and I'll be like, hey, what are you doing? Oh, I'm selling a car. Great. So did you go on a demo ride? Well, no. Well, why not? Then I know, hey, wait a minute, something's going wrong. Like, for
Mhm.
some reason we stopped doing demos. For some reason we're not writing customers up. For some reason we're not doing follow up. I'll come up to a salesperson and I'll be like, hey, did you turn in your call sheet? Well, no, I didn't. Okay, well, why not? So you didn't make any calls today? Well, I just got busy. So I try to do that daily. Of course, I look at reports in the mornings and I look at numbers. Every manager gets a text from me every day with how many deals they have for the month, what they're running per copy, their total gross. I tell them what they're tracking as a department, as individuals. I let them know, like on the 15th of the month, hey man, you're only tracking 50 deals this month. That's below our standards. So you got to get to work. You got to get out there on the floor. You got to go out there and go look for some deals. To me, it's not just accountability, man. It's extreme accountability. That's what I do, man. And I'm not afraid of doing it. I've been doing it for so long. I've been doing this for 27 years, Velco. So, I mean, I'm the type of guy that if I'm at the desk and I ask you, hey, did you call this customer? And they tell me, oh, yeah, I called them. I said, oh, really? Where'd you call them from? My cell phone. Really? Let me see your phone. Let me see where you called them. I mean, I'm sorry, but I'm going to do that sometimes, especially if I know they're lying to me because I can tell when they're lying.
Next time they know.
And absolutely. I mean, I'm old school like that.
At least
I
you're gonna
can't.
get the truth next time. You'll be like, boss, I didn't call.
Yes, and I'm not saying I'm going to invade their privacy or be disrespectful or anything like that, but just I know I like to see it. Say, hey, really? What? Show me your phone where you called. And if they don't even want to pull the phone, say, hey, man, please don't lie to me, buddy, because all I'm trying to do is help you. All I'm trying to do, and it doesn't happen honestly. The culture is set here at our stores where that would never happen. They'll just tell me, hey, I haven't called. Okay, great. Well, listen, are you busy right now? Because if you are, I'll be happy to make a call for you. And I think when you have that culture and you have that accountability where on a Saturday, on any given day, the general manager, the general sales manager, the dealer principal, we're all looking at the CRM, we're looking at engagement, we're looking at how we're answering leads, how many ups we have in the showroom floor, who's doing a demo, who's doing a write up, did we walk any customers, and if so, what was the reasoning behind it? Did we take a turn? I mean, I do all those things, and people know that. People know that I'm watching, and I think once your team knows that you're paying attention, then they start doing their job because they know you're gonna go behind them and look at it. If you're not paying attention, then they're just gonna do whatever they want.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. So the
I mean,
accountability
it's
starts
it's
with,
it's
with
it's
self
sad it's a
accountability.
sad truth, but it is how it is.
So the accountability for the whole team starts with self accountability, with you keeping yourself accountable to make sure you check on those things on daily, and then you keep your GSM accountable, and the sales manager. Do you want the GSM to keep the sales managers accountable with the same system, or do you?
Absolutely, he has to follow the same. Because I mean, I think they always say we all want to be on the same you know page of music. Like,
Mhm.
in other words, we all have to be on the same track. That way, you know where to go check. You know where the process is at. You know, okay, well, we're talking about the things that are important to you and your store. Okay, what's important to you? Is it closing ratio? Is it appointments? Is it confirmations? Is it shows? Is it per copy? Is it all of the above? And then once you start doing that, and then we're all looking at the same things, then you're gonna see that we're gonna get the results done.
Yeah,
Does that make sense?
absolutely. Yeah, of course. So, do the salespeople, obviously you mentioned that you have some type of process for turning call sheets and stuff like that. So you also have created a system where salespeople, sales managers have to report each day on their activities.
Absolutely, yes. We have each manager will have their areas of responsibility,
Hmm.
and I go behind and check them for them. I'll make sure that, hey, did this get done? Did we do a lot walk? I mean, I'm old school, man. I'm old school, and there's so many things that I make people do that you're gonna be busy all day long. You're gonna be busy all day long. I'm gonna keep you busy. You're never gonna find yourself there. You know, it's very seldom, honestly, that you walk to either one of our stores, whether it's Seguin or Capital, and you're gonna walk in the sales office and the managers are sitting there laughing, they're salespeople, and they're all telling jokes. I mean, I've been around those environments, and
Yeah,
everybody's just sitting there and telling stories about, high school and their ex-wives and just being funny, telling jokes. That's never gonna happen at a store. That's not the culture. You're gonna find that everybody's always working a deal. There's always somebody trying to sell a car, making a phone call, making an appointment, confirming. Everybody's busy. That's the culture I want. You never see salespeople here. You'll never show up in our dealerships and see like those 4 or 5 salespeople like by the front door, like gather around talking. We just don't allow that. That never happens. Nobody stands outside. No such thing. If you're not with a customer, you're on the phone. Period. End. That's how it goes.
that's awesome. I assume you started as a salesman, your career.
Oh yes, sir. Yes, sir. I was a salesperson for a very long time. I was a salesperson for 8 years actually, and I wanted to be promoted, but they wouldn't because I sold so many cars. So I was that guy that sold 30 cars a month, and every single month consistently. And to me, it was all about consistency. So I wanted to make sure that every single month I sold 30, and I did. And because of that, and especially back then in the 90s, there was not many people that would sell 30 cars a month. That was a lot back then, and because it was a little harder back then than it is now. I'm going to be honest. So
What made it harder?
I just think we made it harder. The
It,
dealers made it harder.
it wasn't
We the pro
it wasn't harder to make money, but it was harder to sell volume, right?
Yes, because it was more we wouldn't be so open to share everything. We didn't have all the information available. Customers felt the need to go sh- you know go shop around 3 different dealerships because they weren't getting a straight answer from people. Nowadays, I think the closing ratios are a lot higher because there's so much more transparency in our business, which I'm really happy about that. I don't think salespeople realize how easy it is now to sell cars. I really think that if I was to go sell cars now, I would probably sell 50 cars a month
Yeah,
because it really is that much easier and simple. And maybe not
yeah.
easier, maybe a little more simple, and streamline wise is a lot faster.
Well, there's 10 more methods of communication. There's so many different ways
Hmm.
to see your clients before you meet with them. There's literally no reason for cold calling anymore. All these bad, like the information that it's available to the clients out there. It's really what I think is happening right now is we passed. I think you started in the negotiations era where everything was about negotiations.
Hmm.
So customers didn't know the real price, they didn't know their credit score, they didn't know what the interest rates are. So it was really about what do you think it's a good deal, right? It was
Yes,
all about perception
a lot
and
of games, a lot of games
a lot
back
of
then.
games. And then afterwards we went to the informational age, maybe in the mid 2000s, maybe late 2000s. We were destined and conditioned to have a website and to offer more information to the clients, and the smart clients were able to get all the information necessary. During maybe 2014, 2015, right after the recession, people were able to see invoices, people were able to see holdback and things that were never able to see before, and dealers started the race to the bottom with pricing way under cost, which was kind of a nightmare for the whole industry. And I think now, and especially after COVID, we are 100% into the experience age,
Yeah.
when information is really, it's a commodity. Everybody can get to the lowest price. Everybody can get, it's so easy that even if you don't want to, if you just search Google and Facebook and all those, you know, they're going to offer you more information. They're
Yes.
going to give you tools to get the best price. So even if you're not searching for it, they'll share it with you, and they'll share with you some tools. So now more people are looking for, specific way to buy, specific way to take delivery. Um, they're looking for efficiency. They're looking for
Right.
easiness of your process. They're looking for maybe expertise that have nothing to do with price, or
Sure.
something to know about the product, or um, so it's more about the experience, and who will treat me, because the world is desperate for attention. The
Oh
people
yeah.
becomes less and less person who's going to treat me the way I want to be treated. And I think now, with that being said, only relational salespeople could survive. Only people that
Sure.
are looking at their business as a long-term business, or people that are just like you, who want to grow with career path in the organization of a dealership. Only those two types of people are going to survive. The salespeople that have transactional mindset and they're checking out the car business are going to end up checking out of the car business fast. If they're thinking in transaction, I'm going to go there and handle all the people coming in and try to
Sure.
close as many as they can. you know that is not a successful model. And I think more and more we're going into a model that is very similar to real estate. And
Yeah.
our previous guest shared that Remax model, where you would have, as a dealer, maybe five sales pros that are going to bring you 50, 60, 70 units each. Because if you were a salesperson, you could easily bring 50 units. You said that. And what
Yeah.
if you now expand on relationships, and invest in a couple of tools, and get uh, maybe a secretary that's going to do your follow up and set your appointments, and all you do is focus on closing, kind of like Frank Renetti style of a salesperson, where you don't do paperwork, you don't do test drives, you don't do, but all you do is come up with the wants and needs, land them on a vehicle, work the numbers, and then move on to the next person. You could work with 12 people, 13 people a day that way
Yeah.
easily, and have your team to take care of the rest. So so why not have five salespeople that bring you 50 to 70 deals each? They pay their own advertisement, they pay for their own help, and you give them a specific percentage of the profit, just like a
Yeah.
franchise. And I think this is the model that is coming. Only the pros are going to stay, and transactional guys and gals are just like a criminal who is hoping not to get caught in today's world, with
Yeah.
so much surveillance and so much. Because the same way we Google our clients and we try to find them on Facebook, they do the same thing with us. They try to figure out, are we authentic, are we genuine, and it's different. But before you tell me about your projection and how you see the future of the car business, share with me some of your leadership role. When was the first time when you became a sales manager, and what are your three core principles as a leader that you would never ever break?
I became a manager in 2000. So I sold
One
cars.
year.
In 2000 is when I became a manager, and so I've been a manager since then. And the three cores that I won't bend from is process, positivity. I want a positive environment on the culture wise, and I also believe in accountability.
Yeah.
So, those three things, I believe in holding people accountable. I believe in no negativity allowed. I'm big on that. And also the process needs to be followed no matter what. And no excuses, man. You just can't make excuses. In this business, I was a salesperson for 8 years, Velco, so I was able to see people making excuses, people being lazy, people not doing their jobs, people not following up. I
Bad
experienced all that,
habits,
you know.
all the bad habits.
exactly. And so I said, you know, if I ever, not if I, when I have my own store, I'm not going to allow any of this. This is going to be, and most of the time, if you really think about it, and you know this, Velco, it's really not. It's kind of like if you ever have those kids that come over your house and they're just running all over the place, you
Yeah.
know, just tearing everything up, and the parents are not saying anything. And you sit there and you wonder, are you going to
Yeah.
say anything to these kids? I mean, they're jumping on your furniture, they're, taking a crayon and drawing on your walls, and you're like, what in the world? And they're not saying anything. They're not saying
Yeah.
anything, and you're like, wait a minute. Well, that's the same thing with your team. If you allow your team to do whatever they want, whose fault is it?
You're
Is
right.
it is it really is it really the salespeople? Can we sit here and judge them and be like, oh, well, they're just lazy, they're just negative, they're not doing their job? No, it is management. It is the leadership. There is no leadership. There is no accountability. They don't respect, your management, for whatever reason. And the biggest problem that I see nowadays is a lot of these managers, they want to be their friends more than their bosses. They want to be more of a friend than a boss. And I get it, man. I think you have to have a good environment. Everybody needs to get along, and they need to feel like you care about them and all that good stuff, right? But honestly, I run business a little different. I believe that they need to know that you're the boss and what you expect, and that you're there. But they need to see you work too. And when they see you work and they see you do the right things, they're gonna follow. They're gonna follow you. They're gonna follow the leader. They're gonna make sure that they're doing everything that you're doing because they know, hey, if Alex is doing it, that means I have to do it.
Man, this is such a great point you're bringing up. And leadership and management is so close to parenting, right? So many,
Absolutely.
so many parents, they think they show more love to their kids when they
Hmm.
let them do whatever they want and
Yep.
don't teach them core principles in life. And then at the same time, kids are starting to use that as leverage, and they say, "You don't love me because you make me do all these unpleasant
Absolutely.
things." If they cross that line, it's over. It's there's no leadership anymore, and parents lose leverage. And the same thing is with mid-level management. If they let them do whatever they want, and they try to be disciplined once in a while, then the kids are going to say, "You don't love me. I thought we were friends.
Exactly.
I thought we were, so you don't love me anymore." And but the history shows different. The history shows those that were disciplined and fair, uh, the kids don't enjoy that during the process, but later on when they graduate, they say, "Dad,
Hmm.
thank you for kicking my ass. If you didn't kick
Yes.
my ass, I'll be a piece of crap now. I wouldn't know how to take care of myself." And I see my peers that didn't have that in their life, and they're suffering right now as adults, and they're not able to take care of their own families. So thank you for kicking my ass. And and at the same time, what we see on the opposite is those parents that were too nice and too allowed the freedom and never taught their kids to do anything. Then those kids blame their parents for not teaching them, for not helping them with those things.
Mm.
So so good managers that they're looking for that type of love always end up not only screwing their salespeople, but screwing themselves at the end.
Some of the biggest lessons I learned in this business were from a manager, splitting my deal,
Mhm.
or sending me home for the day,
Yeah.
or whatever they came. And maybe I was late to a meeting and they sent me home for the weekend. And Alex, this is the second time we talked about this. You're going home for the weekend, and then on Monday you're gonna show up and we're gonna talk about whether you have a job here or not. And or humbling me when I got too big for my britches. We said that in Texas, right? And I thought I knew it all, and they did something to me that made me go whoa. And I've always believed in that because number one, that's the way I was raised. I had very strict parents, a very strict mother, and then I, of course, being in the military. So it's always been about discipline. It's always been about this is the way things are done, and I've seen what happens when there is discipline, when there is structure. In a lot of dealerships, there is no discipline, there is no structure, and worse than anything, there is no consequences.
Yeah. I
There
love
is no consequences, and then when there is no consequences, then people know that they can get away with murder. and that's when your customers are started suffering from that.
Yeah.
I always get compliments at both stores, and people tell me, "Man, everybody's so professional, everybody's so friendly, everybody is so willing to help because you have the culture that's what's expected from them. We have a 5 foot rule. You have to talk to customers, you have to say hi to them, you have to make sure they've been helped, you have to go out of your way to do whatever it takes, and that's just how it is here.
Well, if the culture is important to you, it will be important to anybody else, and that's
Absolutely.
that's what I get from you in this conversation. In closing, please share with us and everyone in the audience, what do you think is going to happen in the car business in the next 5 or 10 years? Where is this paradigm shift going to lead us to? Let's say 2025. How do you see the business changed in the next 5 years?
I mean, honestly, I don't I don't know that it's going to change a lot. I think it's just going to, if anything, it's going to be better because I think there's going to be more technology. I think the customers are going to be more educated. Hopefully, dealerships are going to do a good job with training their people, and I think it's, if anything, it's going to change for a positive. I think as time goes on, you see more professionals, more people with degrees working at dealerships. That old thinking of a dealership the way it used to be, where who worked at a dealership, what was the culture, what type of environment it was. You see a lot of more females in the car business. You see a lot more college students in the car business. So if anything is going to change, at least for me, it's going to change for the better. Better customer service, better world class service. CSI is going to be better. I mean, because the demands are going to be higher. Because the supply is going to be the same. It's going to go up and down, up and down. But the demand of the customers is just going to keep getting higher, higher, higher. So it's going to naturally make us raise our standards higher and higher, and we're just going to keep getting better and better.
That's right. What a great and positive way to end this conversation.
Yes,
Alex,
sir.
pleasure talking to you. I think that everyone who's going to be watching this on the replay, and I'm also going to be able to send you a link from our YouTube live. You'll be able to keep that video for yourself. But we share ton of good information on how to build a winning culture. We know that you're definitely passionate about your culture and you're empowering your culture on a daily basis. It was such an amazing pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you so much, Alex.
Thank you, Belko. Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. And ladies and gentlemen, we're going to see you again next Monday at 6 p.m. Please don't be late and make sure you show up. Make it a great day and always be a sales professional, never be an order taker.